War Eagle War Rapport family, I'm your host C-Dub, and tonight we review Auburn's loss to Houston in the Birmingham Bowl that took place on yesterday. We'll give our thoughts on that as well as our closing thoughts on the 2021 season. Also, Auburn is on the verge of improving to 12-1, as if you're watching this live, improving to 12-1 in its first game in SEC play against LSU. Once that game ends, the guys will definitely discuss that game and review that as well. So you are in for a treat tonight. For now, sit back, get your weight up, because tonight we enter the War Room.
You are now listening to the War Rapport. Wednesday night War Room. Brought to you by Auburn Sports.com. Let's go!
War Eagle, everyone, War Eagle, and welcome to the latest Wednesday night War Room, brought to you by our show sponsor and good friends at auburnsports.com. Guys, for your recruiting needs and latest news regarding Auburn athletics, please be sure to head over to auburnsports.com. Shout out to JG Tate and the crew for doing an exceptional job throughout the season. Definitely head over there to get your Auburn fix. Now, for our War Rapport community, we welcome you guys. If you're watching us live or on replay, do us a favor. Please be sure to share this video on your social media using hashtag #GetYourWeightUp. Help people find us and help us to grow this community. Now, for those of you who are not insiders with the War Rapport and are not a part of this community, Mike G is here to tell you what you're missing out on going into the offseason. Mike G.
Hey, listen, if you are looking at your name in the chat and it's not green, it's because you're not an insider or a supporter, right? So get yourself a green name, be green, help us save the planet, become an insider. And $5.99 is all it takes to get there. We've got some great off-season content coming for you guys. We're covering basketball, which is on as we speak. We'll be talking about that in a second. But become an insider, get access to some of the awesome stuff we're working on here. After the new year, we'll be dropping a new content schedule, so we can't wait to drop that for you guys. We're partnered with the Lee County Humane Society to help raise money for a good cause. This is some of the good that we've chosen to put back into the world. Help us help them. Hashtag save all the puppies by donating. You can find the link to this fundraiser in the about section of our YouTube channel. 50 cents on every dollar goes to the Lee County Humane Society to help them in their mission to save all the puppies. So help us save some puppies. Donate, please. Now this is a legend. This is a legend on our show that we carry on every week. So he gone, don't be gone. We want you to be here. But in the case that he gone, I'm sure you guys will let us know. And we're giving away a t-shirt tonight. So this is a War Rapport Chat t-shirt designed by Ike Jones, the one and only. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments to enter this. This is sponsored by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. That's our guy, Walt Taylor, in the comments. If you see Walt, give him a digital high five and thank him for bringing us these giveaways every single week. The War Rapport is on podcast. Check us out on podcast. We're on every single platform. Go over there, download, leave us a review, subscribe, do all the things. Help us climb the podcast charts as we continue to expand.
Appreciate that, Mike G, for that. You guys are back, Mike and Ike. B and I were holding it down yesterday at the Birmingham Bowl, and we'll go ahead and get into that and discuss that unfortunate event. Auburn falls yesterday 17-13 to Houston. We didn't get a chance because of the rules at Protective Stadium. Ike and Mike were not able to join in on the show from the stadium, so they were off the grid. But you guys were there. Ike, if I'm not mistaken, this was your first bowl game that you attended?
Yeah.
So how was Protective Stadium? How was outside of the game? How was the we'll get to that, but how was the experience going to the bowl, the stadium and whatnot?
A little underwhelming, I gotta say. I mean, the stadium looks really nice, but it's clear that it's a newer stadium and they have not had a lot of events there because the organization wasn't great. But again, really nice stadium. I didn't have any real issues with the press area that they had set up. The field was maintained really well. I don't know. Everybody's complained about parking. We didn't have an issue because we got parking passes, so I don't know what the parking situation was. Overall, not bad though. I mean, they had the right kind of celebrations going when people scored touchdowns. The flyover was decent, right? So the experience was cool. But yeah, it could have been better, but definitely not terrible.
Just
Mike
a
is
few
clearly
things to
watching the
work-
game.
Clearly watching the game, but a few kinks to work out nonetheless.
For
though,
sure,
right?
for sure. Yeah. And I mean,
Thomas
again,
Ponder-
this is the first bowl in that stadium, so
Sure.
Yeah, I will echo his. It looked like it was the first bowl in that stadium. I was underwhelmed by the overall experience, but I was encouraged by how our fans showed out for the bowl game. It was a sellout. It was a home game. It felt like it every time Auburn did something positive. So
the Auburn fans were there deep.
Yeah, we were rolling deep. So the squad showed up. It was amazing. But I hope that the city of Birmingham has some learnings from this experience, and hopefully the bowl games that they host in the future will be a little better organized.
Dana Holgerson actually had a lot to say about Birmingham departing. He was complaining like a little.
First of all,
this is a family show.
Yeah. First of all, he burst into Harson's presser yelling, "Hurry up!" So let's talk about that. I was standing right there by the door. The hell with him.
Yeah, he was definitely pissy as soon as he got in there, talking about he had to wait 20 minutes.
So
20 minutes.
And
20 minutes.
What was crazy was Chandler Wooten was giving a very emotional speech about what Auburn meant to him, and how Brian Harsin has helped him develop as a person. And they took a little extra time. This was these guys' farewell tour. This was their goodbye.
Yeah, right.
Get your panties, unwadded, Dana. The hell?
For someone who just won a game, I mean, what was his problem?
Yeah, calm down, man.
I really don't know why he was so anxious to get the press conference over with, but he was anxious to get in there, and he came in there complaining about not having nice places to eat in town and all. It's just, I was like, yo, what is this dude talking about, man?
Yeah, so, not a fan. Low class individual.
Thomas Ponder, appreciate you for the super chat, and I think this is what you was trying to tell us. Please tell me we did not see the best we could see at this game. Actually, we saw better throughout the season, and I think that Auburn will get better from here on out. So let's not hit the panic button just yet. It was disappointing for sure, but Auburn will be fine. JT Martin says, I was extremely satisfied with Coach Harsin's presser after the game. He sounded like he's confident. He knows what's wrong, and he took responsibility. For sure. Chris Lester, our offense is inconsistent at best. TJ needs just a little more mobility and he'll be great. We'll talk about that. Let's talk about Jeremy here.
Yeah,
I live in Houston.
I wanted to pull that one up when I saw it.
I live in Houston, and even the radio shows here complain about Dana. So Dana is just he's
just
that
a jerk in general.
He's that
Okay,
guy.
gotcha.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he's
just that
jerk.
guy. He's that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Got it. That makes
He's a-
sense. Makes sense. We'll go with that. Let's go ahead and talk about the game. Just to get some more thoughts from Mike and Ike. Unless you have anything new to add, but we talked pretty extensively for an hour and a half. So this is kind of the Mike and Ike as part of the show. Let's discuss in a loss. We normally do this on the weekend tailgate. Of course, that's sponsored by one of our other show sponsors, University A's Hardware. But let's discuss tools to the game, or some key things that kind of led to the outcome that we got in the Birmingham Bowl. I'll start with you, Ike. What's a tool or something that stood out that really impacted this game?
Oh man, Mike is killing me over here with the expressions watching the game. But I think the biggest thing for me was just the passing offense was super inconsistent, man. We had availabilities there, and you've got to take advantage of those. We hit one of three that I'm thinking of off the top of my head, and we win that ball game, right? Like,
right.
That's just points left on the board that we should have been able to get. But I think the biggest thing is just to get that pass offense have more consistency, whether that is, TJ in delivering the ball or receivers running the correct routes or catching the ball or getting a foot down when they should have had a touchdown type of stuff. So just a lot of things in the pass offense need to be improved in order for us to be a solid football team, because it was clear Houston was determined to not let us run a lot. Like they had 5 on the line of like they were just saying, please throw the ball. And we were like, well, we'll try. And it was just kind of inconsistent with the results. But yeah, that's the biggest thing for me.
Mike G, what say you, man? What was some of the thing you took from this game in terms of Auburn?
Listen, I cut the film like an hour ago, so I rewatched every play and in slow mo. Essentially, it just comes down to points, right? Like, it's what's plagued us all season. We just not been able to put up points when necessary. The O-line I thought played pretty good in spite of missing Brahms and
Ham.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So by the numbers, they only are allowed like a 26% pressure rate, which is pretty good. So there was time there. There was time there to make plays. They just had to be made. What I saw a quarterback that didn't seem like he had a lot of chemistry with his receivers. Right. There were some overthrows. There were some underthrows. There were some throws where it just felt like on the deep ball, he didn't have a real good gauge for how fast those guys run.
Yep.
A lot of people are going to hate this tape, but like I didn't see anything from him that isn't largely fixable with time. Now, what kind of time does he have? I don't know. I mean, I don't think I've been on record as saying that I'm not in favor of anybody having a super long leash at this level. Yeah. I thought during the game, when you watch the film, when you look at the throws that he made, there were some really, really good throws that got made in this game. The issue is not his ceiling for me. It's again, it's like the floor with the last guy, dude. Like the floor can't be, you look like you never thrown a football before.
Right.
And I'm not sure it was that low, but like there was a lot to be left to be desired there. And you got to just, I think if you asked him, he'd tell you that. I think if you sat down and you asked him about his play, he would tell you, I missed some throws I had to make.
Yeah.
Period. Right. So there were 3 drops in this game. One of them was critical. It was a 4th down. He hit Kobe in the hands at the end of the game, and he just didn't catch it. The rest of it was just, man, it was just tough. Like, I will admit, like on replay, a lot of it didn't look as bad as it did in person. But inconsistency is just basically what it boils down to. He wasn't consistent. This was not the game he needed to set himself up, to be really, he could have been the front runner going into the spring with a good showing here. And, he passed for 227 yards. I had said that he would, get 250. He was 1 throw away from that.
Right. If he had hit one of those deep balls, he'd have been 250.
Yeah, he'd been 250, maybe 300. Right. Yeah. Like, I mean, he was one or 2 throws away from a 300-yard passing game. So, I think we saw what his ceiling is clearly, because there were some incredible throws made into some tight windows. I thought we got a little unfortunate on a couple of drives where we got the pick and then they called targeting. And then instead of us having it at our own, like, right, we're on the other side of the field, 40 yards from where, from where the play stopped. I thought that was really unfortunate. But the bottom line is officiating didn't lose us the game.
Correct.
Players lost the game. I saw some people saying Tank needed the ball 40 times. That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous statement to me. He got 21 touches, and it was pretty clear that Houston, like Ike said, wasn't just going to let us run all over them. So once TJ started to connect on some passes, Houston started to back up a little bit. And then I thought, man, if he can connect, have a good third quarter going into the fourth quarter, Tank should run wild. Right. Yeah. There should be holes everywhere. And we just didn't put the pressure on them that we needed to in the passing game to make that happen. I saw a quarterback out there that didn't look like he had very good chemistry with his receivers. Some of you had reported that there was a video of practice footage and neither quarterback looked great. And as expected, we did not see Dede. I thought there was very little chance we would see him in this game, if any. But that was as expected as well too. I thought that Finley showed at least that he, there was a couple of reads that he missed, but for the most part, he saw the field. He just had to make the throws. Yeah, he had to throw more catchable balls. Javaris Johnson bailed him out on a big one where he just I couldn't get
that one. That one hurt me so much. JJ was wide open, and he just like short. I don't know what happened, man. When he let it go, it looked awful coming out his hand.
So it just is what it is. I think that yesterday kind of was symbolic and epitomized what our whole season has been like.
Yeah,
since that 6-2 start. Right. Yeah. It was symptomatic of everything that's plagued us the last, 5 games. And it was not anything. We didn't see anything new out there. Right. We saw about the same. We saw a guy who, has all the physical gifts, signs, the feet, which, everybody's in. I'm just not one of those guys that thinks you need to be able to juke a guy at quarterback to be successful as a quarterback. But you cannot be mobile. You got to be accurate, right?
You got to be accurate.
You got to be accurate.
Here's the thing, too, man. Like, I honestly think TJ was playing stiff, tight, like he was nervous.
It was scared to lose that spot.
I think the pressure of him realizing this was his moment made him come out there super tentative and super like he just. Because so everybody who's talking about his inability to move, did we not watch him in Georgia State? Right, go out there with no pressure. Like in the Georgia State game, it feels like a big pressure moment because we might lose, but like literally he's coming to save the game. So if he screws up, it's not on him, right? Like he can just come. So he's moving well. He's kind of maneuvering within the pocket well. He actually ran for yardage, right? And I just think he was super tight in this game. And so it made him tentative in the way that he wanted to move. Like he just had lead feet. So man, I don't know, man. I think it everybody who's down on him for good reason. He had a very up and down game, but you gotta kind of give him credit for the good throws he made too. Like I just don't think he's getting any credit for the amazing stuff that he's doing.
There were some
but at the same time,
out there.
You can't ignore the absolutely terrible throws that there were in this game. Yeah. Right. Like there were some that were just like inexplicable things where he was maybe 5 feet away from a guy and he like ground balls it. Like, I'm just like, what is going on with him right now, man? So
now, I'll tell you this. I have been very consistent in that I think the pass protection has gotten better as the season has gone along. I don't think that those guys got enough credit for the pressure rate that they have not allowed on our QBs. But I could not help but notice all the people bitching about the O-line suddenly disappeared yesterday. Yeah. Couldn't help but notice. So
you already know.
Let the record state. I got the same energy for this guy when it comes to the O-line than I did for anybody prior. Right? There was time. There were plays that could have been made. Right. There was time to throw, and it wasn't perfect. They did allow pressure on some. It maybe looks a little worse because he can't escape. I thought he stood in there well at times. And knowing that he was going to take a hit, right? They got to him a few times, but for the most part, there were just plays there to be made. He just had to make them, right? I don't think what I saw. If I'm TJ Finley, I didn't do anything yesterday that I can't overcome with hard work and preparation. Now, I'd like to point out that. Sometimes it does take a while for some players to figure it out, right? I just don't know if he's going to get the time here.
Yeah.
Right?
Because, his leash has got to be super.
So it's going to be shorter.
Brian Harsin doesn't have the luxury of
Harson's leash.
Had this been the beginning of the season and he, had a rough 7-game start, okay, it's a little. Well, he only started for Auburn. He's only started 4 games, so 5. Was this his 5th? I don't know, whatever it is.
For Auburn?
For Auburn, I think
this is his fourth
Okay, so
Third-
yeah,
no,
he-
third
if-
start.
Third game.
Third
Third
game.
game.
Yeah, South Carolina, Bama.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, if he had started off 3 games rough at the beginning of the season, he'd probably have a little more leash. But going into a full off season where the competition is going to be higher than it's ever been, and considering the way Auburn finished this season, Brian Harsin doesn't have time to let him figure it out, even with cupcakes in front of him. He has to know that he's the guy day one.
It's tough, man. Like, if you think about it, in essence, he's never had a cupcake game to figure it out. Every game he started has been against SEC competition, every single one.
Yeah, except for
except for Houston.
Yeah,
sure. Right.
Yeah,
so
he's not started a cupcake game in his entire collegiate career.
Yeah, man. He had 5 games at LSU. I don't even know if it was a full 5 starts.
I don't remember.
He may have taken over during one game, but it's.
I think his first start was South Carolina. I think.
Yeah, his road has been really tough. And sometimes guys get just a cream puff in there where they can figure out chemistry with receivers and get touchdowns and feel what it feels like under the lights to succeed. But he's always been called on to save the day. And unfortunately for him, that's just his lot. Those are the cards that he was dealt. So in this offseason, he's got to get in the weight room. He's got to get in the gym. He's got to get in his playbook if he wants to have a chance here. And I'll just be looking forward, because despite how he did, I'm looking for guys that, even in spite of a performance like that, are not running from the challenge of bettering themselves. Right? Because transferring to another school isn't necessarily going to make you a better quarterback. It's not going to fix what we saw.
Right.
Correct.
What fixes it is hard work and practice. And then if you should so happen to get your shot again, you just got to do better.
Yeah.
So I mean that's my thoughts on it. No excuses for him, man. The plays were there to be made. They were. Yeah. And I wanted it for him, because any guy that suits up, I want it for. But
sure.
But listen, we said it before the game. C said it perfectly after the game. This was basically his audition to, I won't say win the job, but put a huge gap between him and anybody else. And and he didn't do that enough. Yeah, he made it more of a question, I think, because the few really good throws that he did make don't overcome the really bad throws that he had. I think if you look at if you didn't watch the game and you just looked at the numbers, you say, oh, he had a decent game, right? Like, he didn't throw any interceptions.
Right.
He
threw for 220 something. He was a little better than 50% passing. So it was an okay game. But if you watch the game,
right,
you're like, yo, like there were plays there, bro. Like, if he hits a few more of those, because listen, to be clear,
those numbers look a lot beefier.
To be clear, for anybody who's watching this who wants to debate me on this, Auburn beat Houston up and down that field for the majority of that game.
Yeah.
We hit a couple more of those shots that TJ should have. We're talking about a blowout game, because it's early in the game. We would have pulled away, right? Like, you can look at statistically going into the first half, even though we were down, we were beating them statistically, even with TJ's poor play in this first half. When he came out in the third quarter and he started playing better, that's when we got the lead, right? So, it really came down to whether or not TJ was playing well, whether or not we were going to win this game. And it was just like, when TJ played well, Auburn looked good. When TJ played poorly, Auburn looked bad, right? Like, it just was, there's no other you can't say Tank didn't play well.
Right.
There weren't a bunch of situations. Tank didn't have any drops this game. He didn't fumble the ball at all this game.
Tank did a lot on his own in this game, because run blocking graded out poor. If you look at the amount of plays from the film where he was hit behind the line of scrimmage and made something out of nothing, it was incredible.
Yeah. No, he had a good game.
An incredible performance, all things considered. So, that'll be something they got to do in the offseason is figure out run blocking, because it wasn't good.
Because of how good he is, Mike, to your point, he almost kind of covers the multitude of sins up front in run blocking, because he's that good. But if you want to get a good look of how he struggled, I looked at Jarquez Hunter. Now, the Hunter was fighting for yards when he would get opportunities, the 5 carries he got. But I think that's something I'm looking to see improve too for our running backs is the run blocking improves. That was disappointing. I expected that to actually be a strength because we were good at that the year prior. But yeah, man.
Hey, let's listen. Can we quiet down the fire Derek Mason talk after this, please?
Like people are still gonna. I've seen it still. Like the people are like,
people
oh,
are
he's got to get out of that prevent defense and stuff. I
thought the defense did a phenomenal job. You know, we forced 3 fumbles in this game and recovered none of them.
Yeah.
Right. But they were flying around the ball. It was 2 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles
with the 2 best players gone.
Yeah, I mean
the defense was absent 2 of the best players, I would say, in the conference.
Yeah, and then at the end of the game, you're
maybe in the country, and we still held them to 17 points. A team that had been scoring like crazy. Listen, this same team put up 20 against Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Like literally. Man, defense ball, man. The people who are out here that have beef with Mason, I just don't know.
Are they still saying that?
Yes, I've still been seeing it, bro. And like, I just don't even understand
at the end of the
crap,
game,
bro.
You know, everybody's making a big deal about that last drive, right? But we were minus Smoke and minus Jalen.
Right, we had lost. Like, so
those were like
we came into the game
momentum.
minus our best 2 defensive players.
Yes.
Then we lost 2 of our best remaining defensive backs.
Correct.
To targeting calls.
Right. And the guy who scored the touchdown he scored it on the guy who came in for Simpson. like
I just
Simpson,
don't understand the energy for Mason. That I really do. Listen, I'm not mad at the energy TJ's getting. I'm just wondering where it's been for the last 3 years.
Right, because
I just don't know. I don't understand. Right. But he's the QB, so he should be getting. Like, wait a minute, wait. When we lost games before, it was everybody but the QB. Like, I don't understand that energy. But again, I'm not mad at the energy because TJ deserves it. Right? I'm just saying it's been the same. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, you know what? Again, I'll just put this out there because I actually am a big fan of this young man as a person, right? I'm gonna say this: if you asked him, he would agree with most of what we're saying, right? He would take accountability for his part in why they didn't win that game. I've heard him do it multiple times already since he's gotten in the game. Right. So like I don't this isn't criticism that I think that he's running from. Yeah. Right. I believe he knows that he could have and should have played better and is not making any excuses for himself either. You know, but to Ike's point, right, like I said, I mean, it feels like suddenly everybody forgot that the O-line was a problem while he was in there, because you did see a quarterback actually hang in the pocket and try to make throws, even though he missed them. And again, the numbers don't lie. It was a 26% pressure rate, right? That's in the top 4th of our league. That performance, that average is in the top 4th of our league for offensive lines. So, they've got to get O-line fixed. I'm not, if anybody's hearing me say that O-line is not a problem, that's not what I'm saying, right? They've got to get O-line fixed. Run blocking is bad. Pass protection is
it's gotten way better. Like, listen, so people, listen, and I will admit I've been one of them that have been wondering, Will Friend, what you doing over there, fam? He's definitely helped fix the pass blocking situation. Mm-hmm. And I think the issue is that we're not physical enough in the run blocking game. Like we're fleet of foot enough to be able to get back and set and get pass blocking done. Mm-hmm. And our communication on the pass blocking has gotten way better throughout the year. Like understanding what your blitz protections need to be, all that kind of stuff. Even missing your center now. Right, backup center in there still did a good job against a team who is tops in the country in getting sacks. Only surrendered 1 sack this entire game. Yeah. Right, pass blocking was not the issue here. Right, again, so that goes to say, TJ, you got to connect on some of those because they were giving you time, fam. Mm. Right, but man, the reason why to me the offensive line is a problem is because we can't be balanced the way we need to be.
Correct.
If we can't run the ball effectively enough, because as good as Tank is, it's hard running against a 7 and 8 man box all the time.
Yeah,
sometimes you got to get some freebies every now and then.
6 times this season, our defense has held a team to 20 or fewer points. 6.
less than 3 touchdowns.
6 games this season, our defense has held the opposition to 20 or fewer points. And then outside of that, we held Bama to 24, South Carolina to 21, and Arkansas to 23.
Yeah.
So, like, they weren't, like, I mean, I don't know, like, scoring defense put us in a position to win more than 6 games.
Yeah.
And they just had to find a way to score more points, man. I still don't think that this team is so far off from something that we can be satisfied with. They've just got to get in the portal, man. You've got to fix it. Year 2 of strength and conditioning of the Brian Harsin Get Your Weight Up program has to be phenomenal.
That offensive line has got to be out there figuring out how they gonna be beastly, man. Yeah. And it's really technique, man. Like, I don't think it's a lack of strength. And we're gonna get to you. We see your chats. I apologize. We're gonna get to these super chats here in just a second. I don't think it's more technique than anything, man. They're just not they're not sustaining and finishing blocks. And it's usually because, listen, in everything, it's leverage and low man wins, right? When you're firing off, but you're too high, then you're only going to get a stalemate. But that same guy, if you're high when you're pass blocking, that's good because you can move a little bit laterally and you're not going to get, so it's again, it's technique. It's just understanding how not to oversell that it's a run because of the way that you fire off, but understand when it's time to fire off, you need to hit a guy and you need to move him. Right. So anyway, let's get to these chats, man.
First one here, Exclusive TV. Appreciate you guys for getting on tonight. I'm a little under the weather, so this is the highlight of my night. Listen, Exclusive TV, take care of yourself. Get well, sir. Thanks for tuning in.
Hope you feel better,
have
man.
You.
Yeah, for
sure. Jazzy Joe, thank you so much, sir. Just dropping in to say challenge complete. And this is for the
LSU,
Auburn win on the hardwood that we'll discuss later. So he's fulfilling his part of the deal. Now I got to get out of this stadium. So appreciate you for that, Jazzy. You the man. He said he meant arena, so that he came back with a $5 just to say arena. Thanks again.
Appreciate
sir.
that.
I think we got another one down here. Yeah, I see it. Bryson here says should have never watched a game knowing. He did that for you, Mike. He did that especially for you.
I can't imagine it would have looked too much worse, honestly. Sorry.
Yeah. I ran into Cole Kublik while I was picking up my press pass at the Westin downtown. And Cole's a cool guy. And, we interviewed him. So if you haven't seen that, go back under Building Rapport. You can see Caesar and Ike did a great job having a conversation with Cole about some things. But he is a funny dude. Man, he had me rolling. And it was kind of cool talking football with him we talked for about 20, 30 minutes while we had some coffee. But I appreciated being able to talk with him for a little bit about what we've been seeing and like what he sees in the program and how people play and what they can do to get better. So it was very, very, very cool. And shout out to our fans. Listen, a number of you stopped us at the game to say hello.
Yeah, man. I was listen, I was a little humbled by the number of people who just randomly were like, hey man, I watch you guys show all the time. Like, just like not even the people who were in the section who we knew were coming because they watched the War Rapport, just random, we're walking back to the press box, stopping us. Hey man, hey, I watch you right outside of the stadium, random people stopping us. That was dope, man. So shout out to y'all. If you're watching, what's up, man? Good to see y'all out there.
Appreciate you guys.
Awesome. Well, listen, guys, we're going to close out this by doing grades after we come back from the break, but we're going to pause to acknowledge the sponsors of the War Rapport.
The War Rapport's Wednesday Night War Room is brought to you by our generous sponsors. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn Sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. Our betting partner, BUSR. Bet with confidence at BUSR.com/report. University Ace Hardware, located at 2101 East University Drive in Auburn, Alabama, right across the street from the Auburn Mall and next to the movie theater. For all of your hardware needs, Ace is the place. And our giveaway sponsor, GWT2 Energy. If you want the best in the business at restaurant logistics, check out our friends at GWT2Energy.com.
Hey, listen, become an insider. If you are not an insider, you want to be one, get yourself a green name in the chat, join our community, help support our content. As Ike mentioned, we ran into a number of insiders at the game, completely humbled and honored by how many of you watched the show and took time to flag us down and say hello and express appreciation for the work that we've been doing here. We're going to continue. We're not stopping. We're actually turning up. So January to July is turn up time. Become an insider. Be part of the turn up. We are partnered with the Lee County Humane Society to raise money for a good cause. I got off the phone with an official from the Lee County Humane Society this week, and we're putting together some adoption event ideas down in the Auburn area and some things that you guys will be able to come and interact with us in person. We'll let you guys know about those events at a later date, but this spring we will be doing some things with them in person to help them with their mission and to interact with you guys as well, too. So watch out for that. You can find the link to their fundraiser in the About section of our YouTube channel. 50 cents on every dollar goes to them to help them hashtag save all the puppies. It costs them $22 a day for an average of 30 to 45 days to help find a pet a home. They also play a significant role in returning lost pets to their owners. So help us, please help them and donate today. We are giving away t-shirts. He Gone, the legend of He Gone. We put it on the t-shirt. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments. This is brought to you guys by Walt Taylor at GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. So it's the answer. Hashtag get your weight up at the 1 hour mark. We're going to pull. And podcast. We're on podcast, guys. So check us out. We're going to be bringing you guys even more podcast content after the new year. So stay tuned for that. We will be making some announcements on our podcast and incentivizing you guys for going over there to listen as well, too. So check us out on Apple, Spotify, Podbean, SoundCloud. We're all over the place on the podcast. Last but not least, Virginia double dribble. Tonight, yesterday, every night, they double dribble. So did LSU. They double dribble, too.
LSU did a lot of stuff in this game where I was like, yo, what are the refs looking at, bro? Like
Auburn, they looking at Auburn. That's all they see is Auburn.
God, it was so bad. It was like stretches of just terrible calls. And I was just like, what? And we still won by 15. So whatever.
I have a question before we get into grades. I feel like these rankings have been a little disrespectful to Auburn.
They have.
Not even a little. Listen, the only loss I get the team that we lost to is just like a so-so team.
They ranked. They ranked.
But I mean, it ain't. So it's not. Okay, they weren't a top 10 team, right?
We didn't lose Iona.
But my next point was going to be we didn't lose to Iona and Davidson.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And if they win tonight against Tennessee's without like 2 of their top 6 scorers due to COVID. So I'm just like, all right, whatever.
UConn is a fringe top 25 squad, right? They're just hovering right outside the top 25. And after this win, and what I will say is pretty impressive fashion. I don't think the game was in doubt.
Vast majority of the game they had this game under control.
Yeah. So, is Auburn a top 10 team next week? After this win?
What was LSU ranked this game?
16.
They were 16.
We were 12.
But undefeated, but one of only like 4 undefeated teams left in the country, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
It's a good question. Will they be top?
We'd have to jump Michigan State, Arizona, or an undefeated Ohio State.
Somebody have to lose.
Yeah, I
ahead
don't know
of
if
us.
they move us up without somebody ahead of us losing. Just the way that they've been ranking stuff. Like I think we have the resume to be a top 10 team, but will they rank us that high?
I think they should jump us ahead of Michigan State. Honestly, I think they should jump us ahead of Michigan State.
Michigan State had a quality win today.
They played UConn too, though, in the battle for Atlantis. So I wonder if that'll factor in because they played them after we lost to them.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping for an Auburn-Michigan State matchup if we had won that game, but I think Auburn's a top 10 team. I think they got to do something. They got to make that right, man.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree.
We'll get to that in a minute. Let's finish up and put a bow on this Birmingham Bowl, and we're going to do that by talking about grades.
Yikes!
The War Report card.
Yikes!
Oh yes, that is that special time. So let's get to it. Let's start with special teams, shall we?
Do we have to do this?
Yeah, B. Of course we got to do this. We got to give the people what they want. I don't know if they want this, but anyway,
The people don't want this.
So special teams, no punts returned. We had 2 kick returns, 2 for 42 yards, 6 punts for 230. Patton hit. It was 2 for 2 on field goals.
Yeah,
35-yarder and 27-yarder.
Yeah, a penalty saved him on one of.
So
yeah, he definitely missed one, and then we got a penalty.
Yeah.
So yeah,
sure. But those are our stats for special teams. I want to know from you guys. I'll start with you, B. I mean, special teams kind of did there. I mean, I would give them an A minus A. I mean, it's what it is. But we haven't heard from you a lot, B. What's your thoughts on special teams?
Yeah, I'd say A. They weren't a glaring weakness in this game. I actually don't remember if we had any penalties on kickoff. I think we had.
I don't think
the targeting that was technically a special teams play. No, that was an INT.
No,
that wasn't
that was INT.
That was INT.
I was gonna say, I don't think we had any special teams penalties for the first time.
Hey, yeah. Great season special teams. Good job, guys.
Yeah. I don't have anything negative to say about special teams.
B plus. Evan McGuire had a weird kickoff.
Yeah, one of them was like super short for no reason whatsoever.
I was wondering if they meant to do that.
Yeah.
It was like
you're talking about the squib kick situation. Yeah.
Was that an intentional squib kick or like?
I have no idea.
I didn't understand.
It didn't burn us. You know, they didn't.
But we did a good job covering it because usually you would think that would not go well for us. But
yeah, that's the only thing that stood out to me as odd on special teams. But like maybe he was supposed to be a squib kick. I don't know.
We had one punt that was okay.
I think it got tipped a little bit.
Did it?
It was like it was a short kick. That was really the only other thing. So for that reason, those two things are going to give me an A minus. But outside of that, everything else was good. The kick coverage was good. No big flubs. Javarius Johnson probably could have returned one of those punts, but he was just like, "Nah, bro, I'm just gonna catch these joints and just get us back."
And he did a good job of getting under some of those kicks as well, preventing them from rolling.
I've got an answer. The ball was actually starting to fall on that kickoff.
Okay,
is why it was that way. It started to fall off the tee, and that happened a couple times. I believe it because that happened a couple times before he actually kicked off.
Yeah, sure.
It looked windy. We couldn't tell from it, but it looked like it was windy down on the field. So
no, it was very windy. I was looking at the flags on most of the kicking situations, and it was windy.
Yeah, it is. I love the inside intel. Right, it was like my phone started going off, and it was like, okay, yep, definitely. It was the wind bringing you guys.
And Shed almost had another one of those where he recovered a punt inside like the 5-yard line, and he tried to like jump into the end zone and throw it back in, but he missed it. So, like I said, decent game from the special teams. Not upset about anything that really happened.
No. I like the combination of Evan McGuire at kickoff. And I mean, we got a different guy doing everything, right? Like
Ben Patton. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember I think Damon Duval was the last guy we had doing all three. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Punting, kickoffs, and field goals. But I like the teamwork at special teams.
So let's move over to defense, shall we? Here are the defensive stats, and what we're seeing is what Houston was able to do. Houston was held to under 400 yards, right at it with 398 on 67 plays. Toon went 26 for 41 for 317. They ended up rushing 26 times for 115 yards. Auburn had 60. total tackles, 40 solo, 1 sack, 4 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles, 2 picks, and 7 QB hurries. Talk to me, fellas. How do we feel about the defense? I'll start with you. I mean, I feel good about the defense. I like what the defense did in this game. You have to reward this defense for holding Houston under 20 points, keeping your team in the game throughout most of it. It looked a little concerning after the first drive for Houston, but the defense settled in and was able to limit Houston the rest of the way until they scored the game-winning touchdown late in the fourth quarter. I'm not mad if A minus. I give it like a B plus, A minus, somewhere in there. Haven't quite made up my mind, but B, Will, what are your thoughts on the defense?
I say B because we couldn't get pressure without blitzing, and that's still worrisome. We've had that happen a few times. Our best pass rushing game, we actually sent a lot of pressure from different places and different guys. That would be the Bama game. So we sent it from everywhere, and a lot of guys got in on the act. But I definitely expected us to be able to get pressure with our front four. We could not. Still puzzling. You had 2 guys on that line who were contemplating going to the league. Kobe Wooden recently announced that he's staying. But between Derek Hall, I expected to see more penetration and disruption from 2 guys. Felt like they might at least be NFL ready, and I didn't see it. Now, you can never argue with the result. Anytime the defense holds, I say 27 or less is a good game. Under 20 is you can't ask for much more than that in college football. You got to be able to put up 21 points as an offense. So if you hold the other team to 17 points on offense, defense did its job. Hats off to them. So I'd say B plus. Let's say B plus. It wasn't a perfect game by far. I mean, you recover one of those fumbles, and that's a different story. But you still got 2 INTs. Even the one, was borderline, but I'll take it. We got holes in other ways, so I'll take that second INT call. But yeah, B plus pass rush, man. 1-on-1, my outside guy beats your guy pass rush. We have been missing that, and hopefully we get that going in the offseason.
Real quick before I get to you guys, Joe Kyle, thank you, sir. Merry Christmas. Hope you have a happy new year. War Eagles were 6-7, but the War Rapport was undefeated this year. Thank you, Joe Kyle.
I don't take L's. We hand them out. Sinister laugh anymore in the football season after whenever the last time was. I miss it, man. I miss it.
Yeah. Mike G, what's your grade for the defense, sir?
I'm giving them an A. Listen, they gave us a chance to win. I was happy with the pressure that we were able to generate. Echo Leota and the blitzes were creative. I felt like, we sent free rushers back there a couple times where if it were the football of old, their quarterback would have gotten destroyed. Smoke almost took the handoff from somebody.
Right.
Right. Like I was very happy. I thought we were able to make him uncomfortable at the end of the day. Offensively, we just gave them too many possessions, but I was happy with the defensive effort. You forced 2 turnovers. You were close to 4 or 5. With a little lucky or a bounce. I thought they were a problem. They caused havoc. After that first drive, their quarterback looked very, very uncomfortable for most of that game. So, everybody kept screaming, "Why don't we blitz?" Right? Well, we did it. We blitzed. We sent guys, what felt like every other play. And I liked that, and down Zacoby McClain is why this is an A for me. Guys had to step up. Some guys, their last game, I just thought it was a really good performance from a team that averages over 30 points a game and went 11-2 in their conference. So I'm happy with what I saw defensively. I think there's something positive to build on. And, actually seeing them do it without some of our best players gives me confidence about the depth we can have on defense going into 2022. So, it's not like, it was just great performance, but by Zacoby, the guy responsible for it, it was his last game. Now, it was Chandler Wooten's last game. But I thought it was great. I thought it was a good scheme. I thought they had a good plan. And, I thought they executed well.
All right.
I'm a little harder on the defense than you guys are here. Not much harder, but I'm going B minus on the defense. I think we had a great overall defensive performance. B- isn't bad, but the I think the thing for me that drags this score down was the lack of pass rush and the lack of discipline in our rush lanes. Like, I think that their quarterback escaped getting sacked way too often when we were pushing upfield but not being disciplined the way
That's
that we were
fair.
doing it.
Ramella Height definitely should have gotten the quarterback.
He
down.
did whiff on one. He whiffed on one big time.
Joko Willis.
Joko got juked.
inside the red
Joko got
zone.
juked.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just there were
big
quite a
whiffs.
few instances where I felt like if we had just done our job defensively and contained their quarterback, like, I don't think that they really could have scored points on us had our defensive line played better in pass scenarios. Because the vast majority of the passes that he hit downfield were either he had too much time to throw or he escaped pressure and created more time to throw, right? It wasn't like the defensive backfield was just playing poorly, but they can't cover forever, right? Like, some of them, it was bust. Like, people were wide open. Like, what's the kid's name? The wide receiver for them. He had like almost 200 yards receiving, if not 200. He was
that Tank Dell or something like
Dale,
that.
Dale, like that
150.
kid, 150 yards. Like, he was really the only guy getting open consistently for them. So again, it wasn't perfect by any means, and I'm not grading on the who wasn't here curve, right? Like, listen, they're not here, so we can't go about by who wasn't there. I'm just judging the people who were there on the field. I'm gonna go B-, man. But again, B- is not a terrible score. I'm just saying it definitely could have been better. I think we could have potentially pitched a shutout in this game had the pass defense been better, specifically how we rushed the passer in either the discipline or when we got there finishing the play. Like, there were instances where, like, it's like, oh, we got him. Okay, no, we didn't. All right, well, that's 20 yards. Okay. It was just, that was disappointing for me. So B-.
Yeah. Cameron Carr, War Eagle, TJ May can get help from Austin Davis. I still think we will see a much improved team next season. That's a spirit, Cameron. I definitely hope so. Thomas Ponder here is super chatting us 5. Thank you, sir. Let me see if I can find if he was trying to say something. I'm assuming this is it. We need O-line and wide receivers. I hope the transfers are in and none out. Ooh, remains to be seen what we do in the portal, and we do have another signing day coming up, so that's that as well.
I mean, listen, we're not going to know the deal until after the spring game, because there are going to be some people who are going to have high hopes going into the spring game, and if they don't see the results that they think that they want out of that game, that's when that last rush of people are going to be trying to make some sort of move to go somewhere where they're going to get more playing time. So we'll see.
I before we move on, I just want to, like, PFF says that this guy Clayton Tune was under pressure on 52.2% of his dropbacks in this game.
Yeah, we got pressure on him a lot. We didn't get him to the ground, but one time though.
He was not comfortable back there. There was one very frustrating run that he had where he looked like he was moving backwards in time, and I was like, we can't tackle that dude. Like, why are we letting him run? He was like following a lineman with his hand on his back. Almost.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember
like,
that play.
Like, come on, man, cut that out. Don't let him do that.
Yeah, they took advantage of us on a few draw plays that he was able to get some yards on. In fact, he was like their leading rusher for a good bit of the game because of that one good draw play he had. So
I think that was the more impressive thing. Now, let me give some praise to the defense. One of the more impressive things was that we were still very stout against the run without Zakoby McClain. And that was the big
that was encouraging
question mark for me, was how well would we play the run with Zakoby not in there? And the answer was not bad. Like, there were a couple of plays where their running back broke out of there, but the quarterback was responsible for a lot of the rushing yards that you see from Houston. And that's why it's disappointing for me that we weren't able to contain him, because it's not like he's some dynamic runner. Like, he was just seize the opportunity, get out of the pocket and go get some yardage guys.
Correct.
So, it is what it is for that. But I just wish that we had recognized, okay, this is a guy that we need to be able to contain. and figure out a different way to either bring the pressure on him or a different way to rush the passer so that we can contain that type of stuff, because that's really what hurt us defensively. Like even on the touchdown throw that he had, I think he ended up escaping the pocket and to throw. Like it's just like a lot, like actually a couple of the, third down conversions that they had wasn't just he dropped back and threw some immaculate throw. It was he had time, he escaped pressure, and then he would hit a guy. So, yeah.
Let's move on to offense, guys. Let's talk about what our offense did. Total of 66 plays, one less, I think, than what Houston did, for 352 yards. Passing wise, Finley he completed 19 passes out of 37 attempts for 227 yards and a touchdown pass. We ran the ball 29 times for 125 yards, no interceptions. We did fumble the ball on that QB sneak, but we were able to recover that. Those are the stats for us offensively. I'm going to be a little rough on the offense. I'm going to be a little hard on the offense because, again, we did not grade out well in run blocking, which puts the pressure on our passing game to be productive, and it was wildly inconsistent. From guys not catching the ball to guys readily available to catch the ball, just can't get the ball to them. I think Tank was a very bright spot in this game.
Sure.
I think you have to acknowledge what he did for Auburn, the opportunities that he got. But there wasn't a lot of opportunities for him on the ground. He had an amazing run coming, I think, beginning of the second half, where he just went on a tear and was able to make up a lot of yards on the ground because of that. But he wasn't running the ball particularly well because Houston set out to try to stop him there, as that's been pretty much the recipe for how to defend Auburn anyway. I'm looking somewhere at a D+ for the offense, just because when your defense hold the opposition to what they held, you got to score. Right. And there were opportunities there. We just missed on those opportunities. I'm going D+ for the offense. Ike, I'll go with you first. What's your grade?
Yeah, I'm gonna be rough here as well. Man, the offensive line, again, like you said, pass blocking was decent, run blocking was The wide receivers, route running, and for some guys was decent, and then in other times it was The hands were good for the most, but then other times it was The quarterback play was excellent at times. It was terrible. Like, it was just so uneven. Like, again, I don't know that there was a guy who I looked at and this is me not having watched this game again and not having watched the film. I don't know that there was a guy that was on that field that I felt played 66 plays of good football. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had 66 offensive. I don't know that there was a guy that had 66 good plays that was on that field the entire time, or however many snaps that they took, that they had more than half of those snaps be good snaps absent of Tank Bigsby. Other than Tank Bigsby, I think he might have had more good snaps than he had poor snaps as an offensive player. That's not a good thing for when your defense only gives up 17 points.
Right.
When your defense only gives up 17 points, you can't have an offense that only half of the time that they are out there, they're playing well as a unit. I'm going to have to go D-. I'm going to have to go D- on the offense, man. Like, there were not a lot of things that I saw offensively that lead me to say, oh, that was good. Like, I can't think of a single thing where I can say, oh, that was good, without having to then conversely say, oh, they did that exact same thing really poorly. Like, every good point I could give to the offense, I can take one away from the exact same players. Like, I can't give anything better than, I can't give it an F, because I do feel like there were bright spots, right? Like, it wasn't a total failure offensively for me, but it was close. Right, like the only thing that keeps it from being a total failure was no turnovers. Tank Bigsby had a good game, right? Like but like, TJ. We talked about the pass to Javarius Johnson where he's wide open and TJ short arms it some way. JJ makes an incredible catch, right? So I'm like, oh man, Javarius Johnson had a good game. But then on a jet sweep, the ground trips him. And I'm just like, like he only needed a yard and he barely got that yard because he fell on his own. I was just like, I don't even understand what's happening. Like there's just, for every good play, there was another one where I was like, what was that? For every good throw TJ had, he had another one where I was like, I don't understand what just happened right there. For as good a touchdown catch as Kobe had in the back of the end zone, he should have had another one where he just needed to get a foot down. Now, he missed that same play earlier in the game. TJ made a great throw to the back of the end zone. Back corner throw. Kobe just needed to lay out and catch it and get feet down. That's a touchdown. Now, he barely got a foot down in the other ones, but he did get a foot down in that one. Then later on in the game, 3rd and 2, whatever it was, he basically falls down in the process of trying to make the catch, and the ball pops up out of his hand, right? Plays a decent game outside. But again, for every positive thing I can say about the offense, name a guy, I can probably tell you something he did poorly in that game that was inexplicable. Not like mistakes happen. It's just like, yo, are we sure we really wanted to win the football game? Like it's just so confusing for me. So yeah, there we go.
Let me get these super chats before I get the mic and B. Rick, TV graphics showed our O-line was on average 50 pounds heavier than Houston, and we couldn't gain a yard on a QB sneak.
Yeah, a lot of that was on TJ and being way too high on that sneak, though. That's one of the things I gave him credit for, of being able to do better than the previous quarterback, was that he's a big guy and he knows how to quarterback sneak. Man, TJ was playing very not. This is not for as poorly as people think TJ play. He just was not himself in that game, man. So I don't know. Anyway, whatever. I'm done talking.
Cameron says a tight end had a good game with the record overshadowed. Shanker had a good game. I thought Shanker played well.
Okay, Shanker had a good game. I take that back. I will say Shanker had a good game.
Still D-?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike G, what's your grade? Yeah, I gotta say, I think those grades are a little disrespectful to the guys who actually did. For as much as guys have complained about receivers not getting separation, we saw guys get separation, right? We saw an O-line that has been much maligned for pass blocking, only allowed 26% pressure rate on a quarterback that can't move, right? And there were opportunities there. I think not besides scheme, there were players who made opportunities for themselves. They were just not all again, they weren't all being able to put it together. So while I agree on the assessment of how everything went down, all that equates to C for me, because it's just more of the same of what we saw all season, right? Some guy gets open, somebody's not being able to hit them. And the opportunities, this game was so close to us being able to actually blow them out if we make a few plays. And I think that's a credit to what some guys were able to do. But to me, if I grade them a D, I think it completely disregards, what some guys were able to do well on some plays when maybe the other end of it didn't hold up their end of the bargain, right? Like Tank pulls this grade up for me. Being able to rush like he did against with not great run blocking definitely pulls this up, So, in respect for the performance that he had and how he gritted it out, I'm gonna grade this a C. It was wildly inconsistent, right? Like it was inconsistent. There's no other way to put it. But I did see receivers get away from their guys, separate from their guys, and we missed it, right? I also saw a quarterback that fit some balls in some tight windows. That throw to Shanker up the seam was one of the best throws I've ever seen him make, right? There was another throw to the sideline, to the far side, to the Houston sideline. I think it was to Kobe, maybe, where he just kind of dropped it in the basket. I was like, man, it was giving me hope that we were close to turning it around. I had those moments after the first couple drives going into the second quarter, performances by a lot of these guys actually gave me hope that we were going to be able to. I at no point during this game, after the first few drives, that I feel like we're not going to be able to get anything going today. Like, guys did, I thought a good job under the circumstances, just trying to make a play. There was another pass to Kobe where it just looked like, why can't we just do more of that? Right. It was to the Auburn sideline. TJ dropped it in. Kobe caught it. It was as good a throw and catch as you'll see in college football. We just didn't have enough of them. Right. So for me, it's just a C. Like, I think, I thought that there were opportunities out there to be made, but when those opportunities were presented, either the guy throwing it didn't do their job or the guy blocking didn't do their job. But there were a lot of plays made in spite of some of the systemic failures on elsewhere in the play. I was encouraged to see our receivers, and I liked what they did in this game. Malcolm Johnson was a shoestring tackle away from breaking a touchdown
for sure.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I liked how they were using Malcolm. I was like, God, he's blazing fast. And it was kind of nice to see Harsin get him the ball in any way he could.
Who was that we missed on the back-to-back deep shots?
It was Tavares Johnson.
Was it Dawson? I was about to say, I thought it was Dawson that one.
Dawson on the first one, and then Malcolm Johnson on the next one. Right.
But Dawson
had 2 steps.
Yeah. He looked real. Because I watched him off the line, which is crazy. Like, I normally don't do stuff like that when I'm watching live and in person, but I watched him off the line and I was like, oh, he got him.
Yeah.
Like, I 5 yards into the route, I was like, oh, he got him. And the Johnson one, there was almost no separation at all on that play. It would have had to have been an almost perfect throw. He still had it though. Like,
he still had it. If you would have, you drop it in there.
I disagree. I literally just watched it an hour ago, man. Like, he would have had to make a perfect throw to just. I mean, the defender was in prime position to make a play on that. He just didn't separate as much as I thought he did in real time. In real time, it looked like he had a step on replay. He just didn't have the step that we thought he did. So
I definitely need to go watch that again.
The Dawson one was egregious. Because he had it felt like 3 steps, and he was running full speed, and he somehow still overthrew him. Right, Malcolm's was a little different. And then the other one, to Kobe, same thing. Like, I just don't know. The route looked weird. It looked like he was, running it out, and then he tried to run up, and then TJ put too much on it, and like everything, the play looked a little disjointed, and what all people saw at the end is what looked like a wide open Kobe. But nothing, that route didn't look natural. I don't know what was going on there. Like, I mean, they definitely have chemistry issues that they need to work out. If I were TJ, I'd grab all these receivers in the offseason. I'd go out to intramural fields, and I'd figure out where I got to put the ball for all these guys on these deep balls.
Yeah.
Right. So if you got Malcolm running free on the sideline, hey man, throw it to the pylon. He's going to get there. Right. Or, I need to put a little bit more air on it because my guy's not going to be able to get to the pylon. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just thought it was an uneven performance.
Corey Weber, here's your super chat. Are we thinking Demetrius Davis just doesn't know the offense well enough? No other reason why he doesn't get a shot with the way TJ was playing?
There's a ton of reasons, none of which I can talk about on camera. But I'll tell you this, right? Like, we did not see DD for a reason. And Parson knows those reasons. And I think that DD knows those reasons too. So, at the end of the day, this coach has been very consistent in how a lot of people were like, Mike, are we going to see DD? And I have all but said, I didn't want to say there's no chance, but I thought the only chance we had to see him was injury. Really. I did not see a scenario in which Harsin was going to play DD, even in like special packages or any of that stuff, right? With the amount of trouble that this offense has had with chemistry and trying to gain a flow and execution, I honestly think he would have been set up to fail. Just take this one to the offseason, man. Take this one to the spring. So, I know a lot of people were disappointed that they didn't see DD, but, DD there's a lot more things going on other than just football. Why these guys do or don't see the field, right? Like, so I'm a big Demetrius Davis fan. You guys know I've been on him since before he took a snap in practice, right? I think he has all the talent in the world, right? But ultimately, this coach is building a culture, and guys got to buy in, and they've got to do what's asked of them, and they got to work hard, and they got to prove it every day. We've seen it. I think Harsin has been consistent in that message as well too. So he's a young guy. He's got time. No rush.
What's your grade before we get to the giveaway?
Say D minus D. For anything that was done well, somebody else did something poorly, and they're all on offense, so all that's going to get thrown right in there together. We did see some better separation. I still think the wide receiver group got better over the course of the year. To see Kobe have those drops last game, though, after he had really broken down, like his route running had gotten better. I thought his awareness of where he was on the field got better, but hands, I thought that had gotten better. Shedrick got better. His catch that wasn't a catch was a really, really tough catch, and that's a borderline catch for any wide receiver to make. I don't hold that against him. I guess technically it's still a drop, but Shed improved tremendously with his hands and his catching over the course of the year. Kobe was down, then up, and then back down again because he had some major drops the last couple of times he was out. There was nothing very redeemable, and it was especially disappointing considering that the coach has created some prime opportunities. Like if you're a coach, you say, "Hey, man, there you go. I can't throw it for you. There you go." So whether it was the O-line whiffing or, the quarterback missing wide open throws, the wide receivers dropping, everybody was messing up enough for us to look absolutely putrid on offense. So D minus.
All right. Well, listen, let's before we get into coaching and then try to cram in some basketball talk, let's get to this giveaway, shall we? You're muted, by the way.
Yeah, so while Ike is doing that,
say my bad. My son is going crazy in the background. And
okay, fair enough.
Yeah, right. So hashtag get your weight up in the comments to get this rolling. We are giving away a He Gone t-shirt. So we want you to be here.
Only 79 entries, 326 people. Come
right, on. You got to be present to win the He Gone t-shirts. This is I saw somebody with some merch on at the game too. It was kind of cool to see you guys.
What did they have?
It was one of our War Rapport, like regular War Rapport t-shirts.
Cool. Okay.
But saw somebody at the game with some merch on. Very cool. If you won tickets to this game, something very cool happened that I really appreciate. Some of our ticket winners had last minute things come up, whether it was illness or just something came up, and they actually donated their tickets back. And we were actually able to last minute get those tickets to people who went to the game. So I saw Shea Presley there. TJ Moultrie won tickets. He sent his tickets back, and we were able to get that to other people. And so I appreciate the community just giving back to the community rather than just saying F it, but actually taking the time to email me and say, Mike, I can't make it. What can we do with these tickets? I put one on Twitter, and it was gone in 30 seconds. I was like, anybody need a ticket? And 30 seconds later, I had a message. So I appreciate that from everybody. And somehow we're going to find a way to bring you guys basketball tickets, guys. It's not easy. It's not easy.
There, boy.
I want to give away basketball tickets, but damn it.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that. And while we do that, prolong wealth.
Hey,
welcome to the community.
Welcome in.
Welcome to the family. All right, so
all right, let's do this, man.
Yeah, can we? Oh man, I was hoping for a nice round 100, but
yeah, we need 8 more, but I'm trickling in. Let's just go ahead and do this.
Is it going to be Corey tonight?
Is this your night, Corey?
Let's see. If we see his name go by.
I'm about to say I haven't even seen his name flash, so I'm going to assume. Oh, I saw Danielle's though.
Is it
Stewart?
Long time listener, first time winner.
Yeah, Stewart Donald.
do the deed, man. You know what you got to do. Everybody will definitely tell you if you're not here. So
Yeah.
Y'all be on the lookout for him as well too.
yeah, there he is.
Hey, listen, Stuart, you know what the drill is. Business at the War Rapport. Business at the War Rapport, please send email us your shirt size and your address so we can get that t-shirt right out to you.
Congratulations, man, on your He Gone t-shirt, and thanks for being here to claim that. Guys, let's get back to it. Let's talk coaching here. So these are just general stats. Houston has 19 first downs to Auburn's 15. Auburn wasn't heavily penalized in this game, only 3 for 35. Of course, 2 of those were the targeting calls, which is why they were we racked up the yards that we got on those. Houston had 6 penalties for 34 yards. We actually won the time of possession battle by 20 seconds, it appears. Not enough for a significant margin or to make a big deal. We split it pretty evenly. Third down percentage, we were not really that great. 4 of 15. Houston was 6 of 14, and we were 1 for 3 on 4th down. And in the red zone, we were 3 of 4 to Houston's 2 of 2. Guys, what do we make of the coaching here? I don't think the coaching was necessarily bad in and of itself, but I think the fact that the trend of us not being able to finish certain drives or finish the games, that's a trend that's becoming a concern, a big concern. We play well throughout, but when it's time to put our opponent away, we just aren't getting it done, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. And that was something that I was hoping that the coaching staff will be able to address in the bowl game, having weeks to prepare and to address those issues and deficiencies. Now, we said it here, the players lost this game because there were opportunities there. I do have a question for you guys about something, and I'll hold it till you guys go. But I'm going to be kind of harsh on coaching. I'm not quite sure where you guys stand, but I'm harsh just because we're still seeing the trend of us not finishing games. And I think that's something as a coaching staff I would like to see us prepared or at least address and begin to make improvements. I will give them a C+ on this. I think it will be a B otherwise or a B- otherwise. But I think the fact that we're not finishing games like the Iron Bowl, like we saw against South Carolina, that trend is continuing, and I hope that stops going into 2022. B, what's yours?
I say B, and the reason I say B is because you have to say, give me your best corner, give me your best middle linebacker, and still be as productive. And they were. 17 points surrendered on defense is a win. You're playing. So he did his job. As far as I'm concerned, Mason did his job. Offense, I liked how the offense looked. I thought there were more throws to the running back coming out of different areas of the backfield, and I think that was a major difference. They definitely seemed I think Jarquez Hunter got more throws during the regular season, but Tank didn't. And I think that Harsin wanted to balance that out, make him just as much of a pass threat as a run threat. And he was. And they had the box loaded. It was hard for him to find room. But when you can create the type of room that we saw over the top, and even some of the short hop throws that were there, guys were there. The offense didn't function properly, but I did think it was properly planned. I'm not really too hard on the offense or on the team I don't think they didn't finish the game well. They didn't play well throughout the entire game. I don't think the offense had a good start. I don't think they necessarily had a good middle. They had like 2 good drives, and that's pretty much it. So I don't know if that's so much of a pattern of we don't finish as we play poorly more than we play well. And at what points during the game we play poorly or we actually played well, it's just random from game to game. So I thought they did good enough to set us up. They definitely set us up for a win. We just didn't execute. So I'm gonna give them a B.
Right.
Yeah. So I think this is where I will call into my grading about missing players, because your coach has to figure out how to get people who have not had the reps and opportunity to come in there and be effective. I think defensively we did a fairly decent job of that for the majority of the game. I don't think the lack of whatever we saw in a pass rush was because coaching wasn't good. I don't think whatever we saw in a lack of, ability to cover for however many seconds you needed to after a guy breaks containment was because the coaching wasn't good. I don't think the inconsistency from the quarterback position was because he wasn't coached well. The offensive line just kind of is what it is. I mean, you had two starters down, and they performed pretty much like they had without those two starters in there, right? So, I think the coaches prepared the team to be there where they needed to be. The plays were there to be made offensively. The defense did what they were supposed to do in limiting Houston to under 20 points. Like a lot of us talked about, we thought Auburn was going to have to score upper 20s, even 30 points to have a shot in this game. They needed 20 because the defense was prepared to do what they were supposed to do. So for me, coaching was excellent this game. Not perfect, right? Like there were some calls I would never. I don't know what scenario I would call a reverse to Schenker. I just don't know when that would pop up in my head to say, yeah.
You mean you didn't love that one?
John Samuel Schenker for the reverse. Yeah, let's speed sweep with the tight end who's not even our fastest, not Landon King. No, not the guy that plays like a wide receiver. Schenker. Like I don't know when there's a scenario where that would pop up in my head. I don't like the pass plays on 3rd and short, right? Like even if I think here's an encouraging thing. We talked about the offensive line not run blocking well. Houston again was committed to stopping the run. We still were getting 3 and 4 yards against a heavily crowded box a lot of the times, right? So for the run blocking to still not be excellent, we still were Tank almost had 100 yards against a stacked box. So run blocking wasn't terrible. The execution is where it falls apart for me, not in the coaching or the preparation. Situational play calling, some of those times, again, I didn't love it, which is why it's not going to be an A, but it is going to be a solid A+. A solid B+ for me for the coaching, because I feel like the coaches got us in position to do things. The players did not take advantage of the things that the coaches allowed us to do. Like, I'm really tempted to go A- here, but I'm going to go B+ just because I do think some situational stuff pulls it down to a B for me, but B+ for me for the coaching.
All right, Mike, what you got?
I'm gonna go with B. The purpose of coaching is to put people in position to make plays, which I thought they did. I was really feeling Harsin, the play caller. Honestly, it felt different watching him call plays. I liked what I saw. I thought, again, guys were open, with better execution. We're sitting here talking about him being an offensive genius. There was enough out there. So I liked the play calling in here. I thought that the balance was good. I'm glad that we did not just come out and just try to run Tank into the ground. I've been firmly against that. People saying, oh, we need to feed Tank. Yeah, we need to feed him. But 40 carries a game is a recipe for injury. So we couldn't do that. I'm glad that he did not give into that pressure at all. And the only thing that pulls this down to a B for me and not a B+ is I do have take issue with timeout management in the second half with this coaching staff. Particularly on the last drive, there were just some curious things that I hope they go back and they take a look at, in the offseason that could have maybe given us a little bit of an extra chance. On the last actual drive we had, there was we run up with Tank for like 8 or 9 yards, and it was like 3rd and 1 or 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2, and then we throw 3 straight times, and I just couldn't. Like I did not understand that at all. Now on the 4th down, that accurate throw was made to Kobe. He just couldn't catch it. Right. It was a little hot.
Yeah.
Man. It's the end of the game. You just got to catch. You just got to find a way to make that catch.
Considering the amazing catches he's made throughout the season, I would expect him to catch.
I still put that more on the throw than I even do Kobe, though. Like I know Kobe should make that catch, but like it was a 2-yard route. You didn't have to like.
Yeah, there was. I mean, when you go back and look at it, I can understand why he threw it the way he did. Like it just felt like that we should never have been there though. There were 2 other opportunities before that throw to get a first down, and we had 2 yards to go. And I just not trying tank at least one of those 3 plays just did not sit right with me.
Yeah, when we threw it on 3rd down, I was definitely scratching my head. When we threw it again on 4th, I was like,
yeah, I mean, 2nd down was the one that messed it up for me, right? Like I thought you tried there if you fail, and then you throw it 2 times if you lose yardage. Okay, I can live with that. But 3 straight passes in that scenario, I thought that was his low light of the game. And then when talking about timeouts, right? Like, so we've got 2 timeouts, and it's 1st and whatever, and you have to force a field goal to make it a 7-point game, and then hope you can get maybe a minute left. So on 1st down, when they run for like 9 yards, I'm like, crap, we only have 2 timeouts, right? I thought there was a better strategy than what they did, because the chances of like holding them to that 1 yard there was just going to be very low, right? So like, maybe you let them run another play, and then you get to the next play, and then timeout, and I don't know, man, maybe just there's some miracle at the end. I know it's tight, but then it always seems like we're burning an inconvenient timeout somewhere else and not left with what we need at the end of the game over something that's execution related.
Right.
Somebody doesn't know or isn't lined up properly, and you end up having to burn a timeout that comes back to haunt you at the end of the game, right? So I've asked him in pressers before about timeout management. Like, it's hard for him to recall right after the game, like the situation. I know he thinks that they've handled it well. I just hope that's one of those things they go back and review and say, like, look at the analytics. What should we do here? In tight games in our league, sometimes it just comes down to that in a good game. It does come down to the decisions that the coach makes from the sideline about when to burn timeouts, when to go for it, when to pass. So this is a B for me defensively. Again, I thought that he did a good job creating a 52% pressure rate on their quarterback. Like that's phenomenal. So Mason definitely pulls this score up a whole lot based on what he was able to scheme in there. 52%, man, I think it showed because we forced turnovers and we had opportunities for other turnovers as well too. On the whiff that Romello Height had on that sack, I couldn't help but think how much of that are these like targeting rules where these guys are running free at a guy and they just don't know how to hit him at full speed, right? So they're trying to make a tackle, but they're trying not to get a personal foul. It just seems like, I think maybe if, under some different circumstances, there's we're talking about defense, even, in terms of an A as well too. So they created those opportunities. Romello Height had that opportunity because of what they schemed up. And I think it was a really good job. That gives me hope for the future. Yeah. Right. I don't think, and first and foremost, above and beyond players, we have to have hope for the guys who are supposed to be leading them. So this game gave me hope for that. And for that, I grade them. I award them a B.
All right. Let's get some super chats here. Stephen D's. Appreciate the super chat. TJ equals overthrow Bo 2.0. D Davis equals Malik Willis 2.0. Harsin will never play him. Malzahn beat Florida. Harsin lost to Houston. I'm concerned. I get it. You're frustrated with how the season ended, but
yeah. Listen,
I get it.
I think everybody's concerned. Nobody's not concerned. This comment is what I think just a lot of the same from this whole season. This game was very symptomatic of a lot of things that we saw before. I don't think we saw anything new this game. We just saw what we've been seeing. So I get it.
You get it, Ike? Don't answer that. Walt Taylor says, can anyone believe how classless the Houston head coach was in the post-game interview?
No.
B-ball game was great, guys. Jabari has such a sweet stroke.
Facts.
Yeah, unstoppable, pretty much. Unstoppable.
Yeah, he
Guys,
can pretty much get his shot whenever he wants to. Like if he picks better times to we'll talk basketball.
Yeah.
like now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
do you want to put a bow on anything about football, about the Birmingham Bowl? Anybody else before we transition?
Nah, I've said all I need.
Yeah,
to say
Holgerson to his comment. Holgerson's behavior was trash.
Yeah,
I stood right there for it. It was completely classless. I mean, it was low grade behavior by somebody who leads young men and should know better and set a better example.
I think so.
Trash behavior.
I think for the reality is the Houston team came in there with a chip on their shoulder. They felt disrespected that they were even at the Birmingham Bowl against a 6-6 team. Like they felt like the only reason that Auburn is playing us is because they're in the SEC. We're going to go show those Southeastern Conference boys they can't whoop up on us. And let's be clear.
You won by 4 points.
You barely won the game. Yeah, you barely won this game without two of our best players. They were missing their best defensive player too. And our QB didn't have a great. You barely calm down, settle down. You won. Congrats to your team. Have a little class. Go back to Houston and eat whatever you want to when you get back home.
It was a very even matchup.
Yeah, you know what? You know what his behavior had. Grown man at a restaurant, with his kids, screaming at the server at the top of his lungs because a couple of his ice cubes melted in his water. That's what his behavior was like. It was very, very I was just like, man, come on, bro. This man is in here, and these players are saying goodbye. It was a very emotional moment for Chandler Wooten, and here you are, a grown ass man outside the door yelling, "Hurry up! Give me a break, dude." Alan Green was right there, and he kind of went out the door. And
Alan was not happy. He went outside. Yeah. I don't know what he said, but you can tell when he walked out the door, he was trying to get some straightening done.
Yeah, he was getting ready to to go to go into another gear, and he handled it professionally because he's a class act as well too. So but yeah, he was shown the class that he did not show in that moment. And for Harsin,
I think Alan Green thought it was because if you looked out there, you only saw players. I think he thought it was players out there being loud. And then when he got out there, he's like, "Oh, it's the coach." So that probably made him not go completely hey, what's happening out here? But yeah,
I don't know. And then for Harsin, I mean, the feel that he had in that post game presser was, this guy understands the gravity of all this. I can't stress enough. He's not taking this lightly. And he wants to be here, and he wants to get it right. Coaches are humans too, and they should be allowed the latitude to grow. And he was taking that moment to take that in, right? And hearing him talk about Chandler Wooten was, it made me. He has the buy-in of a lot of these players.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah, I was very, very humbled by Chandler's words and Harsin's words, and it just felt like, okay, this wasn't the outcome we wanted, but at least we have quality men in our program.
Yeah,
Dana.
Let's talk basketball. Since we're kind of on borrowed time, Auburn wins in impressive fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Got out to, what was it, an 18-1 lead?
Yep.
And pretty much led the rest of the way. LSU chipped away at the lead a couple of times to end the first half. We ended up leading at the half by 11, and then we ended up closing it out by 15. But that surge pretty much put us over the top, and we got a player of the game. That player of the game is who, Mike G?
Big Walker. Sexy. Let's go, Big Sexy.
AKA Walker Kessler, 16 points, went 6 for 8, 11
freaking blocks, bro.
Listen,
That boy's
let me-
erasing
Yo,
everything.
they actually updated his stat line. They changed a team rebound to a Walker Kessler rebound, so he officially had a triple double with
Oh yeah, I
blocks.
didn't even put his rebounds on there. He had 9 rebounds.
He had
so now
9
10.
boards. He had
Yes,
9
it's-
boards.
it's
They
10
changed it
now.
to 10 now, so
They
that
changed
means
it to
he has
10.
boards. So triple double.
Triple double with blocks.
Yeah,
That's
the 11
unreal.
blocks is insane. Like the 10 boards is not crazy for a 7-foot guy. 11 blocks in one game. Did you guys see the stat line where he has more blocks this season than the entire North Carolina team?
Wow. That's very significant too.
They
Wow.
were trash talking him a bit when he left, but yeah, they can eat it.
Yeah, man. I tried to call Walker after the game, but I couldn't get to him because he blocked me. Because he's blocking everything. He's blocking phone numbers.
Mike is the most dad joke telling non-dad I have ever met in my life, bro.
Brian is not amused. He is not entertained.
Wow.
No, man. No, but yeah, he's good
Y'all,
at
please
basketball.
don't leave. Please don't leave. Michael, stop. Please stay.
No, but really, he's good at basketball. He can do
He's got
Jabari
really-
had a good.
He has very good timing, though. Not to get off of
Yeah.
Walker history.
Amazing
He has.
timing.
He has like a lot of tall people. Just because you're tall doesn't mean that you're good at blocking shots or getting boards, right? Like we talked about how Auburn has had an issue with securing boards because of just kind of the way that they play defensively. A lot of it is just timing and positioning. Walker Kessler has immaculate timing when he blocks shots, man.
Really good
To stay out of foul trouble, right? Like he blocks a lot of shots without getting a lot of fouls, and that's
Right.
not easy to do. He does it really well, man.
It's like he comes from the opposite end to block the shot. Like a lot of the blocks he gets is not necessarily his man. He just comes behind and cleans up the shot.
For sure. For sure.
Like that's like he's made it an art doing that.
Hey.
Go ahead, Mike.
Listen, Will Wade coming into this one had a pretty interesting press conference where he said, "Listen, guys, if we play like we played before at Auburn, we're going to get our ass whooped." Now, that's not me quoting him verbatim, but you know, he saw this coming. I think that he understood where his team's weaknesses were, and you know, he talked about turnovers, and he said if we do all that stuff in what is the toughest environment in the SEC.
Yeah, and that's exactly
Right.
what they did. They came out and played poorly to start the game, like they had been all season, and tried to come.
I couldn't
back.
overcome it.
Yeah. You're playing a more talented team. You can't do that.
Man, I'm just like, whoa! Like, what's the best record Auburn basketball has ever had to finish a regular season? Chat, do we know? Do we know what our best regular season is? Because I feel like these guys
I think
could
the year before
turn in
we
like a
went,
27-3 or something, man. Like,
we had one season where we won like a bunch of games.
Chris season was the last season we were just like unreal as far as regular season goes.
Yeah. I think injuries.
we had like
kinda-
a
I think-
26-5 season or something like that.
Yeah, we had a
Does that
we had
count?
a season like that. Like we really had a good regular season. Like it was pretty crazy. I can't think of what year that was. Ike, I do want to ask you this. Something that I saw that was a bit concerning and is kind of what kept LSU into the game. Credit to them because they're kind of a scrappy team, but our turnovers. I think this was one of the games we had the most turnovers. We had 21 total turnovers, and that kind of helped LSU stay in the game. Is that a cause for concern a little bit? I guess when you get into conference play against some of these scrappier teams that may not start off slow.
I think the issue in this game was carelessness more. I don't like LSU calls some of those, but some of those were just Auburn doing silly stuff, right? Like I can think of one in particular, like two or three actually in particular. One where Jalen Williams is in the middle of the paint and he's turning to fire the ball out to the corner, and he just
throws it,
over the guy's head. Dylan Cardwell had one where he was at the top of the key and he's trying to do a post entry across. But the guy was in the post. He was shooting it out to the corner. It was just miscommunication. It wasn't so much LSU was doing stuff. It was that Auburn was just being careless at certain spots. And I think when you come out and you're playing so well early, you can get lulled into this false sense of security that, oh, we're about to go out here and blow these guys out, and then they just start doing silly stuff. And that sort of thing will definitely hurt you again. I mean, because that's what got LSU in trouble. Is like they were just being careless a lot. You know, I think Auburn caused more of the stuff than LSU caused, if you know what I'm saying. So like, you can clean up the stuff that the unforced errors, then, you know, and you listen, all of those unforced errors and still won by 15 and still had the referees not really trying to let you get away with anything. And you won by 15.
Yeah. Very impressive win to start. Listen, and we did a facts or not. Auburn went undefeated in December. So I'm excited. I'm excited about this team, man. I'm excited about how we're going to look going into January as we get into SEC play. I am not seeing it. What I think Bama is down to Tennessee 51-49. So that was another big matchup in the SEC. So
Bama, that's disappointing for me. Is Bama missing anybody? Because like I already said, Tennessee's missing 2 of their top 6 scorers in this game, and Bama's losing this game.
They've been trailing throughout the game.
Yeah, they have.
Listen, they are boom or bust. If they're not shooting the 3-pointer well, they do not score well.
Yeah.
I bet you if you go look at the stat line right now, they're shooting less than 30% from 3.
Oh, let's see. They are shooting 20% from 3.
Yeah.
If they shoot better than 30% from 3, they are infinitely better a team. How many 3-pointers have they taken? More than 20 3-pointers in this game?
They are 4 of 20.
Wow. Nailed it. It's great analysis.
Listen, man, for everybody who thinks I'm a breaker downer for football, I watch way more basketball than I do football.
Man, I just think when it comes down to it, they're trash, and and all the hype from football just kind of carried over to basketball, and they act like they were the good an automatic Final Four team to start the season, and they're getting that ass whooped right now. You got 3 losses already. You're about to talk. They might not even be a top 25 team.
I mean, we'll see.
Yeah,
there's a lot of season. There's a lot of good games.
If they shoot the 3-pointer well, they are a hard team to beat. But it really comes down to how well they shoot threes, because they take a lot of them and they don't particularly take great ones, right? Like they just feel like, 4 or 5 feet behind the 3-point line, I could still pull up. But when they're hitting them, they're really hard to beat. They say it's a tie game now. All right.
Yeah. Let me tell you, this Auburn team, the thing that I like about them over our Final Four team is that it seems like we have a much better. I mean, Walker Kessler is the difference for me.
Yeah,
he's like, coming on. He's coming on.
Like, holy crap, man! It feels like we can beat teams a lot more ways than we could on that Final Four team. So this team does have the shooters to get hot from 3. But we've got drive and penetrate guys. We've got post guys. I don't know, man. It just feels like there's a number of ways we can play up tempo, or they could slow the game down and grind you out. Yeah. I mean, I see them. They can win a lot of different ways. This is a really fun team to watch.
Yeah, and we're just the way we defend the paint is just like it's unreal. It's unreal, man. I'm excited, man. I'm excited about Auburn basketball. We can turn our attention to Auburn basketball and just enjoy it. Someone made something in the comment section. I'm hoping that we can get to March Madness. I'm hoping COVID doesn't do anything.
Yeah, man.
With this season, getting a little concerned about how it's impacting other sports, but that may be the only thing that can stop Auburn, man. Like we're looking good so far. So I'm happy to see us knock off an undefeated team. LSU is no longer undefeated, and so curious to see. There's no games. There's not going to be any games this Saturday because it's New Year's Day. So.
Well, again, COVID is a thing, so you just got to manage it, man. Manage it like you want to play basketball.
Yeah.
So
Cambridge was actually out tonight for COVID. So we had a COVID got missed because of that. I mean, everybody's got to manage it, like you said. So hopefully by the time March gets here, we have some common sense regulation as far as, is this as severe as it was a year ago? If not, let's adjust these times. I think that's fair when you get data that says, hey, this is not as serious. People aren't dying and it's critical in as much numbers. Then you can adjust, how long people have to sit out. And hopefully, I don't know. I know with football, there was a thing, if you get it at this point in the season, if you get it later, you don't have to be out as long or something like that. I don't know what those rules are for basketball, but hopefully they adjust them so it makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everybody wants to see us finish this season.
For sure.
Oh,
It's looking really promising. We'll be here. Appreciate you, man. I think you meant to chat this to us, at least at Auburn. We always have class. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, despite what a lot of people say about our fans, I still think our fan base is.
There were Houston fans on social media commenting how well received they were at the Birmingham Bowl by Auburn fans.
They were treated very well, and we shared like a pep rally space down by the stadium. So like from 5 to 5:30, Houston did theirs, and then from 5:30 to 6, Auburn did theirs. And the Houston people, they stuck around for the Auburn one, and I saw a lot of Southern hospitality toward Houston fans during this game. So our fans are class, I think, for the most part, more so than a lot of other schools.
Yeah, absolutely. Walt Taylor, appreciate you, man. The LSU point guard. Yes.
Yeah.
I was saying this in our Xavier Pinson. I felt like he single-handedly kept LSU around in this game because I felt like we were getting ready to run away, and he just started charging to the basket. Now,
a lot of that happened
got
with
some
Wendell
thoughts.
Green on him, though, not Zep Jasper, though. That's what I was going to say. Like, a lot of that had the Wendell was guarding him during like that little flurry he put on where he scored like eight or 9 points.
6 or 8, yeah.
Yeah.
So he did a lot of that in the first half, but he got in foul trouble, luckily. Yeah. So he couldn't continue to be aggressive. He actually got called on a charge that I think put him at 4 fouls in the second half. So like that aggressiveness had to kind of stop because they needed him in the game, and he ultimately ended up fouling out. But yeah, man, good game overall, man. Any more thoughts on Auburn? Do we have anything else?
No, man, I'm just looking forward to seeing more from this team this season. Hopefully, our fans get behind this team and continue to make that environment a tough one to go in and play. Man. The energy was really hype in the stadium by all accounts. So
it was great.
Definitely loving that.
Flanagan had 10 points. How are we feeling about him coming on and getting?
He's on the way.
How we feel about Flanagan?
He looks tentative offensively still, right? Like he doesn't look like he's going out there trying to go get his shots. But one thing I do recognize with Flanagan in the game, they run the offense better because this is going to sound like I'm beating up on a guy who didn't play tonight because the difference between him and Devin Cambridge is I think he knows the offense and plays within it a little bit better. Devin tends to be a stand around, spot up, wait for, the ball to rotate to me, shoot guy, and then crash if it doesn't because, he's a leaper. Flanagan is more of an aggressive, let's move the ball around, and he's more of a slasher as a player, right? So, like, he functions off of an offense that makes ball movement happening. So he wants to see that ball reverse sides and all that kind of thing. If he gets more comfortable taking mid-range shots, because they're running him off the three for whatever reason. Not a great three-point shooter. They were running him off the three all night. If he gets more comfortable just taking 1 or 2 dribbles and pulling up from 18 to 20, I don't know how you stop him. Because if you rush him too hard, he can definitely get all the way past you to the lane. And what they're doing is they're running at him hard, but then they're trying to run a shot blocker up underneath. If he just takes that mid-range and can get really good at that, I mean, and really that you can say that for literally the entire team. KD Johnson is guilty of that. If it's not a three, he's trying to get all the way to the cup. If this team, other than
Jabari does it well. Yeah.
Jabari is the only one who will take that medium range shot every time you give it to him. If the rest of the team gets comfortable with that medium range that they're giving up, this offense is going to be unstoppable, man. It's going to be unstoppable.
Are we worried about free throw shooting?
Yes, we are absolutely worried about free throw shooting. It's terrible. It's terrible. Even from the guards. The guards are not shooting the free. Like Wendell Green, I think, is the only one that is a decent free throw shooter. Jabari is decent at free throw shooter, but he's still.
As a team, we're 71%.
Yeah, that's got to be 78 to 79% before I even feel comfortable with it, especially considering how much we're able to get to the free throw line.
Right.
So if you're going to get teams in foul trouble and you're able to get free throws, you've got to make them at a higher clip, or they're just going to start fouling you.
Yeah, 17 of 26 tonight from the free throw stripe. So, in a tight game, those are free throws are critical.
Right on the road.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that stood out to me while I was watching. It just seemed like we were missing a lot of free throws. But I'm telling you, Wendell Green has quickly become my favorite player in an Auburn uniform this season. I love that kid's game, man. I like he's not afraid of any shot. He'll take it to the basket. He'll try to play big.
4 shots tonight, though, which I thought was good.
He shot 1 3 out, and I was looking at him like, Wendell. Why'd you do that?
Oh yeah,
it was out there.
Yeah.
That
was soft though.
Steph Curry.
Soft
Right?
bounce though. I mean, look, he has. I understand.
He got it.
Why Bruce empowers these guys to take those shots though, because much like we saw in the Final Four run, you would have said a few of those shots from Harper were nonsense. But listen, once they got it, it creating momentum for everybody on offense. And I think he wants us to be able to tap into that. So you give them enough of a green light to where they're not scared, they're not tentative about doing it. So you can feed them and they can feed other players and the crowd gets into it. You just have to get them to choose better spots to take those chances. And I think they're getting there.
They're getting there. They're getting there. I just didn't like that one. That's it. That would be my own little
Walker Kessler
there.
stepped out there and pulled a big boy.
He did.
You look good doing it.
Listen, it was a
swish,
wet. A whole swish. It was definitely wet. Walker Kessler. I've seen him shoot a couple this season that have been like, why are you doing that? But he made that one. It was a big.
He's just getting real comfortable, man, and I'm happy to see it. Like first, it started with defense, and now he's starting to feel a little bit more comfortable just in the offense altogether, and it's showing in his stats. So
for sure,
I'm happy that he's improving. Guys,
I brought me around on KD Johnson. Like I was not sure about him to start the season, and now he's one of my favorite players on this team. So even when he's not shooting well, he's out there just making effort plays, stripping the ball, bouncing, creating turnovers, just everywhere, affecting the game. Yeah. So it's hard. I think we might be, in terms of depth, definitely a top 5 team in college basketball in terms of depth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. I looked at some of the numbers for, the top 25 teams, and, at the 2 deep, man, we've got a lot of guys that can go in there and get the job done.
Yeah. The thing that scares me is that when Walker Kessler sits down, they start attacking the basket. We don't have a shot blocker. Cardwell's tall, but he's not the shot blocker. He's not the presence. Any team now, from now on, they're going to try to get Walker Kessler off the floor. If they've got somebody that can pull him out, a long 4 that can be at the 3-point line, they're going to do that. They're going to try to drive him and get fouls on them. And if anybody succeeds in that, we might be lunch meat on defense, because our perimeter defense honestly hasn't been great. We can harass guys as long as
a lot of stuff when they get inside. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He just erases a lot of stuff so guys can stay home at the 3-point line and really discourage long shots. But he's the key. He's the key. We got a lot of talented players. Jabari picks his shots very well. He takes very good shots. He creates good shots. But if Walker Kessler isn't blocking 8, 9, 10 shots a game, I don't know what this looks like. I don't know what this looks like yet. I hope we don't lose him for any reason. Fouls in one particular game or COVID or anything. He needs to be out there, please. I will donate you some T-cells, young man, whatever you need.
Listen, we got to take care of Big Sexy. You know what I'm saying? We got to take care of him. We got you, Walker.
Well, Mike, take us out of here, man. Let people know, those of you who may be watching, get the thumbs up, please. Also, if you're not a insider with the War Rapport. Mike, tell them what they're missing out on, sir.
Get yourself a green name. Become an insider. $5.99 a month will get you there. You can look for that join button on our YouTube front page, unless you're on an iPhone, in which case you need to go to your Safari browser, view YouTube in desktop form by hitting the 2 A's in the top left corner, request desktop site, and you will see that join button, log in, become an insider. A few of you signed up tonight. We appreciate you guys. This is a great way to support our content and help keep us going. January to July, we are the hardest working content creators out here, bringing you guys film reviews, interviews, commentary, all of it, man. We are plugged in with the university, with the players, with the coaches, with their parents, and we've got a lot of good stuff coming for you guys this offseason. So hang in there with us. The War Rapport will be with you through all of it. We're partnered with the Lee County Humane Society to raise money for a great cause. We're trying to hashtag save all the puppies. So you can find this link in the about section of our YouTube channel. 50 cents on every dollar donated goes to save the puppies and help the Lee County Humane Society stay viable. They exist on charitable donations in large part. So help us help them. Congratulations to our raffle winner tonight, Stuart Donald. We're on podcast. Check us out on podcast, guys. We are on every single podcast platform. We're going to be bringing you even more podcast content here in January. So go over there, subscribe, download, leave us a 5-star review. That certainly helps us be able to bring you more content and climb the podcast charts. So appreciate everybody. It's been a wonderful season. Is this the last time we're going to talk to everybody before the new year? I think it is.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah,
it
We're going
is.
to talk to everybody for the new year. So if you're out there, it's been a great 2021 at the War Rapport. We definitely appreciate our community. You guys are more than just listeners. I feel like we have a great community of people who have supported each other in the chat. We've ganged up on trolls. We've raised money for a good cause. We've done a lot of wonderful things as a community. So in 2022, help us take that to another level, right? So we definitely want to be able to continue to do something, use our platform to do something for others other than ourselves. So I hope that you guys have seen that. We've tried to give back to our community with tickets and, anything that's given to us, we give to you guys for coming and listening to us every week. We certainly appreciate it. It does not go unnoticed. And in 2022, we hope to do even more. So you can support us simply by just continuing to listen, share with a friend. If you can't afford an insider membership, there are a ton of free ways to support the War Rapport. We appreciate any and all support. So thanks, guys. Happy New Year.
Indeed, guys. Special thanks to auburnsports.com for sponsoring today's live show. We appreciate you guys as well. And yeah, guys, be safe out there. Enjoy the new year. Before you get out of here, whether you're watching live or on replay, please be sure to share this video on your social medias. Help people find our content. Let's help to grow our community. Please be sure to like this video. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so on YouTube. You can also go out and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The War Rapport. You can also follow us on Facebook as well. We are at TW Rapport on TikTok. That's it for now, guys. Have a wonderful, safe, prosperous, happy new year. And until then, as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.